Alright, so my name is John Boble, otherwise known as Revan. I'm 20 years old, and right now I'm a Call of Duty commentator for Major League Gaming.
Awesome. Okay, so how did you get into gaming?
So I got into gaming when I was very young. I have two older brothers, so naturally I just watched them and kind of pick up on what games they were playing. We were real into Legend of Zelda when we were younger, but when I got into competitive gaming, I was actually around 10 or 11 years old. I played a game called Half-Life 2 Deathmatch, which is one of my favorite FPSs I've ever played, and I played that along with my brother and my brother's best friend. And in the low gravity server, which is what we played, we were actually the top 3 players on there, and it was very competitive. I love that game, but then we eventually moved to console, where I've also fell in love with games such as Return to Castle Wolfenstein, Halo 2, and then Call of Duty 4.
Nice. So you started out in Call of Duty 4. I assume you started as a pro player, right?
I didn't start as a pro player, so actually I started out playing game battles with a bunch of my real life friends. We played a lot of Search and Destroy, but I eventually moved into Team Deathmatch, and I actually played TDM with a lot of professional players today, like Karma. I played with him back in the day, Dito. A lot of guys got their start in Team Deathmatch, but then these things called Pro Circuit Ladders started popping up, and I competed in a good amount of them, like PCL A, B, C, and then they moved on to MLG ladders. I played in a couple of those, and I didn't see the best results at the start, but absolutely loved competing. And I knew from there that I was going to put time, I was going to dedicate X amount of hours a week to the game, practicing and watching the pro players play. And I eventually got better, and then eventually got to where I am now.
Nice. So when did you start codcasting?
So I started codcasting actually a little bit in MW2. I kind of messed around with it. I have a buddy called Ringleader. I'm sure you guys may have seen his videos on YouTube. He makes like event montages now. But back then he started a company called High Stakes Gamers, and he would stream our team a lot. So he was streaming another team scrim at the time, and I was just like, hey, I'll just start casting, because at the time, Voice and Hashra, they were doing the Game Battles live stuff. So I thought that was really cool, and it's maybe something I'd like to do. And I started casting there just for fun, but I still played. And even if you remember back to like Black Ops 1 Columbus, I competed and I casted there, so I did both. And Modern Warfare 2, when I first started casting, I talked really, really fast. I'm not sure if anybody remembers that, but that's what I was known as. I talked really fast. I had good game knowledge, and then eventually I went to a NAS Pro Performance shoot. JCap was the pro player being featured, but I heard about it, MLG was doing it, I offered to come down, and that's where I met Nexi, and he was the one that got me hooked with, he got me into MLG on the stream and casting for them.
Awesome. So what do you think the future of Major League Gaming is going to be like, say 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I see esports as the #1 sport in the world. I see it getting the most viewers, competing with American football, competing with European football as well, or otherwise known as soccer here. But there's definitely an audience for it, and the crazy thing is that we're really just like in the beginning stages, right? I mean, it's fairly old, like there was Counter-Strike esports and stuff, but now the exposure, the promotion, the advertising is really starting to pick up, and especially over the last year or so, just for Call of Duty, you've seen exponential growth in viewers. But then you look at a game like League of Legends, which is without a doubt the #1 viewed esport right now. And they recently released the numbers for their Season 3 championships. Those numbers were insane. I mean, there are more people watching esports than NHL, more people watching esports than some of the other professional sports out there. And I do see it growing to rivaling, those bigger sports, as I said before. And I can't wait till we get there.
Yeah. So what do you think about League of Legends keeping their esports support native instead of exporting it out to MLG?
So there's an up and down side. The upside is they know the amount of resources they have. They don't have to worry about any league messing something up. They keep it all controlled internally. But the downfall to that is other leagues can't run League of Legends. They can't do tournaments for that because they contract the players. They control where they can and can't play. So they really have to partner with Riot and kind of keep it tied to LCS. But like MLG, let's say MLG wanted to do like a $150,000 League of Legends tournament. We'd only be able to get the teams that weren't contracted by Riot. So I mean, Riot, they definitely did some great things. I mean, they are constantly pushing the bar for esports and the content that they create and their promotional value. But I think that you want multiple leagues running your game. I definitely feel that would be the best route to take. But I mean, you really can't say much about Riot. Clearly, they're doing something right.
Yep. So no hard feelings?
No hard feelings.
Okay. What would you say about a possible partnership between Riot and MLG?
Well, it's been done before, right? So we did, LCS like Super Week, I think. I'm not really too familiar with League of Legends. I like watching it for the casters. I think the commentators are really great and really well trained. But I mean, we did League of Legends in the past. Not sure if it's a possibility in the future. That's more of like an Adam or a Sundance question. But it's been done before.
Cool. So what do you think of COD Ghost so far?
I guess out of the box, I was kind of upset that we were lacking the esport features that, Black Ops 2. I mean, that was the best Call of Duty game ever. There's no doubting that. If you can't dispute that. So when you open Call of Duty Ghosts for the first time and I got the game early, I was pretty disappointed. The LAN lobby didn't work. There are a bunch of flaws with, the features. Like we weren't able to have search and destroy go to 6 rounds. We couldn't do 1.5 minute round timers, which, we need those settings to play the game. Granted, we can make it work, but it's not optimal. But I guess I was kind of disappointed overall. But after talking with some of the guys from Activision, and I'm going to talk with some people from Infinity Ward here just to kind of see, if there are any plans to, I guess incorporate esports more. Because I personally feel that if you balance a game at the top competitive level, then the public match players, the casuals, they'll enjoy the game more because it's just there's nothing overpowered, everything's balanced. There's a counter to each and everything in the game. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'll talk to the higher ups and kind of get where they're at. But I guess my initial thoughts, I was kind of disappointed.
Okay. What do you think is the state of Call of Duty right now? Do you think it's on the upswing, or do you think it's a little bit of a decline?
If you're going to compare the viewership to Black Ops 2, I think we might see maybe a slight decrease in viewership, but not much. I mean, there's going to be a Call of Duty Championships, there's going to be MLG events, there's going to be, so many Call of Duty esports to watch. I mean, so much content is going to be created, so viewership, it might decline just a little bit, but the hype is still going to be there. The game is still going to be exciting and fun to watch.
Okay. What do you think about Battlefield trying to take the crown for MLG? They're trying to vie for the top MLG spot. They're trying to take it from Call of Duty for viewership.
I love that there's competition, right? I feel like competition really brings out the best in people. So if Battlefield is showing off all their new features, which they're doing amazing, by the way, I don't know if you've ever checked out some of their streams or their website, their spectator client and all the things they're doing to incorporate like live updates into their website. It's awesome. So it's, just raising the bar just a little bit. And hopefully Activision, and the developers of Call of Duty, hopefully they're watching that and they're like, okay, EA, they're trying to compete with us. Well, let's outdo them. Let's step our game up.
Okay. What do you think about after MLG? What are you planning on doing after MLG is done or after your career in MLG is done?
So right now I go to school. I'm at community college right now, but I'm about to get my associates and I'm ready to transfer. And I major in chemistry. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with that yet, but I know it's something with chemistry, maybe pharmacy, something along maybe like a lab technician, but definitely something in that field. But yeah, chemistry, I love it.
Cool. Have you seen yourself maybe continuing in the gaming industry after you're done podcasting?
I've thought about it. I've talked to my parents. I've talked to people who I trust. And the conclusion I've come to is that I don't think I'll be able to get a full-time job in esports. So I'm just here right now, kind of like a part-time job. I'm earning money that I'm putting towards my college so that I can pay, my tuition with and all the bills that I'm going to get in the future. And I'm just going to keep it, invest in something more safe, more stable, like education.
Okay. What do you think about the inclusion of females into the gaming industry? How do you think that things are going with that right now?
I feel like there needs to be more of them. I mean, there's kind of like a negative stereotype. I'm sure you see it all the time on Twitter that everyone, they call girls on the internet e-girls. But I don't really like that term, but we definitely need more females. And if you look at, broadcasting superstar ESPN, right? They always have male anchor, female anchor. So it's proven that that type of, I guess, partnership works. It brings in viewers, and we're doing that with the Esports Report as well with Desi Sanchez and Chris Puckett. They host that show, and it's doing very well. So I think more females need to kind of put in the effort. I mean, nothing's going to be handed to you. If you're doing a bad job, like if you're just expecting to, like, if you're a female, let's say you start COD commentating, MLGs just won't hand you a job because you're a female and you start COD commentating. If you do a good job and you know what you're talking about, then I guess what I'm trying to say is we need more hardcore female fans. There's definitely an opportunity out there for a hardcore female gamer.
Okay. I'm just gonna be kind of honest though. Our community seriously
ruthless.
Sucks balls.
Yeah, they are ruthless.
Yeah, seriously, they just go out there and they start insulting each other. They say, "Oh, I had sex with your mother," They say, "Make me a sandwich" to other girls. How do you think that we can make our community a little bit more of a favorable place for everybody, but specifically women?
I think it starts with the pro players. A lot of them might not realize that they are role models to some of the fans out there. The fans, they're gonna take how they act and make it into their own personality. I mean, you see that with professional sports as well. People look up to the players. So if there's a pro player out there that does something negative, it's gonna negatively affect X amount of fans out there. So we just need to mature as not only a community, but the professional players as well really need to kind of mature up.
Who do you think the biggest star in COD right now is?
Without a doubt, Nadeshot. I mean, he has a huge fan base. He's about to hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which is, just think about that. Potentially 1 million different people went onto his channel and hit that subscribe button. I mean, when he goes live on Twitch TV, he pulls in 8,000 people immediately as soon as he goes live. So he's without a doubt the biggest star right now in Call of Duty esports.
Okay, cool. Who do you think the biggest team right now is?
Optic Gaming. They have a huge following on YouTube. I mean, everyone calls it the Optic Bump. Whenever they're playing on stream, the numbers will go up 20, 30,000 even. So I don't think you can make an argument for anyone else.
Okay. Nothing against Optic, but what do you think we could do to try and decrease the amount of dedicated Optic fans and more increase the number of dedicated MLG fans? Because the numbers show that about half of all MLG fans say that if Optic was not on the circuit, they would stop following MLG.
Well, if you look at why that is, Optic, they produce a ton of content and they're the best in the business at connecting with their fans. So I feel like the other teams, they need to start producing content. They need to get on their YouTube channel, they need to get on their Twitch channel and, just connect with them. I mean, you really don't see it enough, but I don't think being a fan of a team is necessarily a bad thing. With professional sports, I mean, if you look at, a very popular team like the New York Yankees, they're going to pull in more viewers than, a relatively, less fan favorite team in baseball. So just more teams need to start producing content and connecting with their fans. And I mean, Optic, they didn't get to where they are by luck. They had a plan, they took a route, and you could definitely see with their YouTube channel, with their Twitch channel, what they did. So I don't want to necessarily say you want to mimic what they're doing, but take some of the ideas that they've had, do some of the stuff that they may have done, maybe put a slight twist to it, and incorporate it into your own team, and I guarantee you'll see growth.
Okay. What advice do you have for anybody getting into pro gaming?
It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, as with everything in life. I talk to countless players, and especially some of the up-and-coming amateur players. They expect that, let's say, for whatever reason, let's say Optic Gaming just made a roster change. The amateur players, they feel like they should be the one that gets picked up by Optic. But, you have to put the time and effort to not only become better as a player, you have to also invest in going to events and trying to get the best placing possible at these tournaments, because that's how you get noticed. People are going to be watching the stream. Not only are our viewers going to be watching the stream, but other top players will be watching the stream. They'll be watching you play. And I remember back in 2011 when I was just warming up, I was competing. I got on a team called Icons, and I'd turn around and I'd see a whole bunch of pro players just checking out our match, seeing what we're up to. And I 100% tell you that some of these pro players, they're looking for that kind of up and coming player that has the talent, has the dedication. Blindfire is a great example. I've known Blindfire since 2011, and I knew there was something special about him. His slaying power is just ridiculous. And then, Black Ops 2 comes around, and now look at where he is. He's considered one of the top players in the game. So just look at kind of the players right now who kind of started from not much, made something of themselves, and now, they're the best on the circuit.
Cool. Infinity Ward or Treyarch?
In terms of just flat out support, I like Treyarch, but in terms of gameplay, maneuverability, and just the overall physics, Infinity Ward.
Okay. What would you change about Call of Duty if you were in the dev office right now and you had the power to make that decision?
So what would I change about
anything
Ghosts?
about Call of Duty? No, just Call of Duty in general.
Just Call of Duty in general? I'd make the guns a bit harder to shoot. Even in Black Ops 2, that was probably really good gun balance, but I feel like there should be a bit more recoil just across the board on everything. Because right now, I do feel like the game might be a bit too, I don't want to say easy to play, but the guns, they're not that tough to shoot. It doesn't take a whole lot of skill to control the recoil or anything like that, but if you look at other top FPS games, like even with Halo, there might have been not recoil on the gun per se, but with the battle rifle, you had to lead your shots, perfectly. They came out one right after another. It wasn't just like an instant burst like you see in Call of Duty. So I'd like to see a lot more gun tuning and gun balance.
Okay. What's your favorite gun in COD Ghosts?
In Call of Duty Ghosts, I really like the Vector, actually. The Vector with red dot. You see complexity there. They've been the first ones to kind of discover it, and I think everyone else is catching on. I remember I was playing with 4Play when we got the game early, and we were like, wow, this Vector is really good.
Cool. What do you think could be done in COD Ghosts to improve the balancing of the game?
So I think everyone's main complaint is the time to kill. So I think, they don't have to necessarily change that for the casual players, but if you've ever looked around the in-game settings, you can double the health. But the issue with that is when you double the health, the grenade damage doesn't increase, the sniper damage doesn't increase, which I think that if we were able to double the health and grenade damage and sniper shots, their damage also went up, I think that would be probably the one change I'd do.
What do you think about Infinity Ward's attempt to remove quick scoping from the game?
I kind of feel indifferent about it. I mean, you don't see that too much in competitive play, which is really all I care about. That's more of like a public match nuisance. They don't like getting quick scope. They don't like getting dominated by sniper rifle. I don't mind too much.
Okay. What role do you normally play if you ever play on a pro team?
Definitely not a Slayer. I'm not a player that could drop an insane amount of kills. But my natural role is support. I love being just a support player, helping out the objective, putting myself in the right position at the right time is really what I'm good at.
Okay. What is your favorite team right now in esports?
Evil Geniuses. I'm a big fan of all their players in the organization. They've done so much work to push the boundaries of esports.
Okay. What about just in COD?
Just in COD? My favorite team, probably Envious. I've always looked up to them since 2007. That's been the one team I've always wanted to join but never had the opportunity. And they lead by example. I mean, they stay classy, they're good personalities as well. So definitely them.
Mm-hmm. Who's your favorite? So Envious is your favorite team?
Mm-hmm.
What about your favorite player in COD and in esports in general as well?
My favorite player in esports in general, I think it might be Huck from Evil Geniuses. He plays StarCraft. He has a very good, likable personality. In Call of Duty, I think Rambo. I feel like I can relate to him the most. We're similar people. We have similar interests. Mm-hmm. So those two guys.
Oh, who's your least favorite player in COD right now?
My least favorite player in COD? I don't know. I try my best to get along with everyone.
Who do you have a beef with?
I don't really think I have beef with any of the players right now. At least not that I think of. I hope everyone likes me.
Alright, so what do you think of Chris Parasite?
I like Parasite. I teamed with him in Modern Warfare 3. I think he's a very talented player. I would have liked to... I had the chance to pick him up in Black Ops 1 on my team, but my teammates didn't want him on there, but he's one of the most hardworking players out there right now, and he's very talented. I think if you're making a top 5 versatile player in Call of Duty, he's going to be on that list.
Okay, cool. Let me see what else. Is there anything else you really want to say about Call of Duty in general?
In terms of just overall support, I feel like we're lacking in just kind of promotion and advertising. I would love to see one day, doing stuff like Valve is doing right now with Dota 2 and Counter-Strike, where fans can directly contribute to the prize pool of tournaments. So for Dota 2, the community raised around $77,000 just through their purchase of in-game items and like in-game tickets. So I think MLG initially invested $50,000 into the prize pool for this event, and that prize pool went up by $77,000. Like, that's insane. I feel like if Activision or Infinity Ward did something like releasing like a special camo or something like that, and then like they got a percentage and the rest went to like an MLG prize fund, I feel like that'd be great. But I just want to see more league and developer cooperation and more like advertising. So with advertising, you remember when you loaded up Black Ops 2 and you couldn't skip this. The message of the day popped up on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
What if they just edited that to say, hey, there's a 4v4 event going on this weekend, tune in to MajorLeagueGaming.com or tune in to twitch.tv/Gfinity or something like that. I feel like just small little changes like that would go a long way.
Mm-hmm. What would you say about possible integration between Major League Gaming and the pub match sector, like what League of Legends is doing? People have to reach level 30, but as soon as they max out there, then they can enter the, I guess you could say, pro circuit,
Yeah.
and they can work towards becoming a challenger and becoming a member of a pro team.
That comes with being able to play the game out of the box. With Call of Duty, it's so tough because we have imbalances like kill streaks. Black Ops 2 was probably the closest we ever were to playing a game out of the box. And the reason that is it was just a very balanced game overall. I mean, there were score streaks now implemented where playing the objective was worth a lot more than just picking up kills around the map. But if you look at Call of Duty Ghosts with the Assault Strike package and the Specialist Strike package, it's all kill-based. There's really no incentive to playing the objective because if you earn these kill streaks like a helicopter or a guard dog, those could really change the swing of the match. They could change the pace of the match and give your team an edge just for what did you really do to earn that? You just, sat in a head glitch and picked up a couple kills. But in Black Ops 2, to earn something like a lightning strike or a hellstorm missile, which, they're a great asset to your team. You have to get in that hard point. You have to pick up kills inside the hard point and play the objective. So,
what do you think is too overpowered in Call of Duty Ghosts?
I'd say everything. I mean, the guns, they kill really fast. I feel like some of the kill streaks are, especially the support strike package, I think is probably the most overpowered thing in Call of Duty in general, just because when you die, you don't lose your progression towards that streak. So you're not punished for, dying. So it's...
For sucking.
Yeah. I don't want to say it's like rewarding bad players, but it's kind of like death streaks in a sense. You get rewarded for dying in a sense, where in some of the domination games that we've seen on the circuit when we were trying support kill streaks, you'd finish the game with 9 or 10 kills, and that's pretty much guaranteed. You're gonna get at least 9 kills in a game. So then you'd get like a night owl, which is like a roaming trophy system combined with a motion sensor, and you might have went like 9 and 15, but you still got something to greatly help your team.
Okay. What about the removal of lock-on rocket launchers in the game?
That doesn't really affect the competitive play in a sense, since we don't allow kill streaks. Those lock-on rockets, they don't mean much. But
I mean, just like in the pub side.
Yeah, in the pubs, it's probably a huge deal. I'm sure there are players out there that they probably recognize I might not be the best at this game. What can I do to help my team? Well, using those lock-on rockets was probably one of the main classes that they used just to shoot down all that air support. I think I remember seeing a screenshot in one game where some dude went like 4 and 26, but he was on top of the leaderboard just because he killed everything in the air. So it probably impacted them in a negative way.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of decreases the well-rounded team part of Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm. So in Call of Duty, everybody has a different role to play. I think we all know that. So I think it took away from, I don't know if you could call it like an objective role, but just like a team player. Like, there's no longer that element in the game.
Okay. Xbox One or PS4?
Personally, I'm not going to buy one of the next-gen consoles. I really don't feel like I really need to, but I think I'm going to go Xbox One on this.
Okay, so you're not going to get a new console?
Unless my Xbox 360 breaks, I don't think so.
Okay, so you're probably just going to go right to PC?
Yeah, I'm a big PC player.
Great, that's just going to give the PC Master Race people on my channel more ammo there.
Well, that's just because the game I'm truly in love with right now is StarCraft. That game is just so beautiful. So every time I'm on my PC, I'm watching StarCraft. I'm playing StarCraft, of course, when I'm not involved with Call of Duty. But even like that's how I got my start in competitive gaming, was playing on the PC. So it's always going to be in my heart in one way or another.
Have you thought about possibly becoming a StarCraft commentator after college?
I've always wanted to try commentating StarCraft. I had an opportunity to do an Acer Team Story Cup match with Axlav, but he didn't send me a text message in time, and I couldn't get down there. But it's always something I wanted to try, but I never really had the opportunity to do it.
Well, are you going to try and do it?
I don't think so. I think right now they have that set commentator list that's always going to be at events, and they're all fantastic commentators. So I don't think if I started commentating StarCraft, I don't think I'd ever be invited to a major event.
Okay. Do you think about Korea's party in power trying to decrease professional gaming in the country?
I think it's going to hurt esports overall, because if you look at Korea, that's really the home of esports. That's the mecca right now. If you want to become the best esports player possible, that is where you're going to move. That is where you're going to train. That's where you're going to practice. So I think if that does go through and they do kind of put a restriction on gaming, it's going to have a very negative impact on esports overall.
Okay. What do you think about the increase of esports in China?
It's good. There's definitely a huge Asian audience for esports. I mean, you saw it with it might have been Dota 2 or something along those lines, where there's a huge influx of viewers for those streams, and I think they recently unbanned consoles there too. So I want to see. I don't think we'll see it right away, but I think in maybe 1.5 years, I think we'll be seeing Chinese teams come over to compete in games like Call of Duty.
Okay. How do you think they're gonna stack up?
I hope they do well. I hope that because it's going to be tough. We have such a huge learning curve over them. So I think if they do want to, I guess, kind of catch up to the metagame of current Call of Duty, they're going to have to put in a lot of time.
Okay, what do you think about the European/North American integration of Call of Duty gaming?
I love it. I mean, personally, I feel that the EU teams have always been slightly weaker than the North American teams, but that all comes down to the amount of time they put into the game. But I definitely love seeing more European teams come over. Unfortunately, I'm unable to go over to any more European events, so I won't be able to, get a really good look on them.
Why is that?
It just conflicts too much with school. I can't miss the school time to go over there.
Oh yeah, I suppose. When you have to pay for school, I guess you kind of want to go.
Yeah, school is the #1 priority for me. Even so, for this event, I'm flying out Sunday night, so actually, yeah, I fly out Sunday 8 p.m. so I can make my class on Monday.
Oh, good for you. Good guy, Revan. So, let's see. I suppose, when you want to go, when you're paying for it yourself, I guess you want to go. For me, I just skip a lot. I used to not, but who cares?
School's important, kids. Go to school.
All right. So, let's say you're on a deserted island.
Okay.
And only thing you have for company is a mermaid.
A mermaid? Okay.
Okay.
Wait. What kind of mermaid is it? Is it top half fish, bottom half fish?
Okay, this is where you have to decide. Top half fish, bottom half fish, the other half's human.
I think top half human, bottom half fish.
Why?
It'd be kind of weird just talking to a fish. Just the facial region, if that's just like a fish and you're trying to communicate with them, I'd be too weirded out.
Okay. If you had to take one thing with you to a deserted island, what would it be?
One thing with me?
You can ask for one thing and then a bunch of stuff would be brought with it, but you can't ask for a toolkit to get off the island or anything like that.
I'd probably bring an axe.
Why?
If you're on a deserted island, you're going to need something along the lines of that just to survive. I think that'd be the most useful thing.
Okay, so I take it you probably read Hatchet?
Yes.
Okay, that's why. If you were given the option to be immortal, would you?
Do I keep aging? Like, does my body get weaker?
No. You would lock yourself in at one age, which I'll let you choose,
Okay.
but you stay that age forever. You cannot die even when the universe ends due to entropy.
Yeah, sure.
You take it?
Yeah.
Why?
Just to see how the human society evolves over time. Like, I mean, we know a little bit about the past, but not as much as we'd like. So it'd be really cool seeing how society compares now to 1,000, 10,000, 20,000 years.
Okay. If you could punch any one person, who would it be?
If I could punch any one person, who would it be?
And not get any repercussions from it.
Not get any repercussions? Probably Wings of Redemption. So I've had a couple of interactions with him, and each time he hasn't come off as the nicest person. So I was actually on a talk show, and I think he was one of the guests, and he was just, downgrading competitive Call of Duty and kind of bragging in a sense about kind of how much he makes through YouTube and how, the pro players will never touch him in income. And then at the end of the show, that was when Counter-Strike Go came out for the console. And I was one of the best players at that game, for console at least. And, there's a $400 tournament, which, $400 to him might not seem like the biggest amount. And he made it known that $400 means nothing to him. But I think this is the exact quote. People would play for $400. It's a waste of time. And I was like, well, it's a growing scene. I'm sure there are people who'd love to dedicate their day to try to win $400 in Counter-Strike Go on console. And the tournament did get a pretty good showing in terms of the amount of teams. And he has not come off as the nicest person.
Was the talk show that you were on called Painkiller already?
No.
Okay. That's his thing with Woody's Gamertag.
I've tuned in and I've listened to them kind of downgrade competitive play.
Well, I think Woody's a big proponent of that.
I've met him at a MLG Raleigh in 2011. He goes to events, but just
not often.
They just said some controversial stuff about competitive play, and that's what I'm all about. So naturally, I got a bit upset.
Okay. Well, what if I told you that he would probably kill people for $400 right now?
Who?
Wings of Redemption. He's kind of in a bad spot.
Okay, well, I hope he doesn't kill me.
So you don't like him very much?
I don't like the personality he portrays.
So what do you think of Woody's Gamertag, though?
I like Woody. He's a very nice, he's a very smart person. I've had a good amount of conversations with him, and he's a very good guy.
Cool. Oh, have you ever met Lefty643?
I've never heard of him until right now.
Okay. What about? Well, you should. He's pretty cool. But what about FPS Kyle? You ever met him? Or his friend, FPS Russia?
Mm-mm. I've only seen, I guess, some of FPS Russia's YouTube videos.
Cool. What would you say as a general piece of advice to anybody watching this video?
As a general, be nice and courteous to everyone you meet. You never know what they're going to end up to be, who they're going to wind up being in the future. And just first impressions, they mean a lot, but they mean a lot more if you're genuine and you mean what you say.
Okay. Cool. Do you have any parting words for the people at home?
Thank you for watching this interview. If you watched all of it, from the amount of time I've been sitting here, it's been pretty long. But I'd also like to thank you for doing the interview with me. No and I guess you could check me out on Twitter, twitter.com/RevanJB, and on YouTube, youtube.com/RevanEXC.
Awesome. And this is FPSGeneral. All the links will be down in the descriptions that we mentioned down in the video. If you like the video, like and subscribe. Peace out, guys.